care. Serious attention, heed written with care, under the law of negligence or of obligations, the conduct demanded of a person in a given situation. Typically, this involves a person's giving attention both to possible dangers, mistakes, and pitfalls, and to ways of minimizing those risks. Standard of care, see degree of care in reasonable person. Now, this is similar to the prudent man rule. When I was a financial consultant, what would be a prudent investment for the individuals that trusted me to help them with their finances? For those in academia, what would be the expectation of a reasonable person when you have knowledge of forgery, fraud, and kidnapping? Oh. Now, let's look at a reasonable person. Yes, reasonable care. See, reasonable person. Yes, well, great care, highest degree of care, degree of reasonable. Test of liability for the degree of care that a prudent, incompetent person, well, that's close enough, though we might still look at it, engaged in the same line of business or endeavor would exercise under similar conditions. Now, for all of you that said, well, I'm not negligent and I don't have any reason to care, ooch, all I have to do to prove to a jury of my peers, yes, is that you did know about the fraud. You did know about the forgery. Yes. You did know about the conspiracy to cover all of this up. Right. You did know about the number of times I was arrested when I didn't commit any crimes. Yes. And then a jury of my peers would look at any academic professor of any institution of higher learning and say, well, why the fuck didn't you do anything about it? That's your negligence right there. Now these are good sized lawsuits, I'll tell you that, because it's the jury that actually has to make the decision. Those individuals that we don't know yet. Now, reasonable care would be that the president of Northwest University, as soon as he found about forgery, yes, my son's being in the wrong grades, yes, the false arrests and false imprisonment, yes, the refusal of law enforcement to exonerate the accused, yes, any reasonable person would ask you right now, oh, see, I do get to know, and then the jury gets to know. Now, let's look at it again. Okay, academia, yes. All of those that are credentialed, oops, the ordained, the avowed, the dues paying members of every denomination of the United States of America. See, your defense attorney, yeah, is going to have to convince them, the jury, that you had no obligation to the reasonable care that would be expected by any. Oh, the defense attorneys. Well, as I made mention, I happen to know all of them. Yeah. See, there were certain attorney groups that I was suing. Yes. Civil rights attorneys, they're getting sued because their line of business is the protection of civil rights of American citizens. And then there were prosecuting attorneys, yes, that when having the actual evidence exonerating the accused, they are legally obligated, regardless of jurisdiction right now. Ouch, Brady, I'm talking to you for a second. Then there are the public defenders that receive their income from the taxation of the population, the AMT, property taxes. Then there are the judges and justices that get elected to office that any knowledge of the violating of the civil rights of American citizens, they are personally liable for that. I gotta tell you. And then there are the academics that have to sign this little form that says, "I did receive the employee manual." Ooch, and you might belong to a union that represents you. Pooh. Now, when you think about defense attorneys, because you're going to want some of them. I actually wanted to know them 2 years ago because I thought I would sue your defense attorney right now for not enforcing the attorney oath of office of knowing about Americans that are defenseless and oppressed. Now, breach of confidential forgery, committing fraudulent acts known as defrauding the United States of America of taxation, dishonest acts of issuing court orders where there is no notice or opportunity to be heard. Yes, the breach of trust of each and every academic right now. Who is it that's going to have to decide? The jury is. Now, you thought that you would. Well, Princeton, pooch. For every attorney in the employment of that actual institution, I can sue everyone. Well, why don't you get me the attorneys that represent all the institutions of higher learning that issue the academic degrees of all of those that are ordained, credentialed, and licensed? Because it's so much easier for me to identify the attorneys first and have them sued, and then whatever defense attorneys well, well, why is the jury going to side with you when I wasn't in those?